Today we will try an alternative of this manual operation that we had done for the database operation, like doing add, insert, update in the database. So today we will do with library, very uh, customized library that I will provide a code file with our group. So I'm going to add one folder within this data layer, our class. So I'm going to add one folder. So the name of the folder is SQL Helper, and within that I have a three file. One is data source helper, one is null.cs, and one is SQL handler.cs. The connection string will be assigned. So we are good to go now. So let's try to use this class to do the same operation that we had done with the manually for this employee data provider. So we have one reference of this one. Let's move over here and let's try to use our SQL handler in place of this employee data provider. So what we do, let's create the object of our SQL handler. So with that, what we need to do, we need to as a using for SQL helper, and then we'll create object of SQL handler. We are going to do the same job with this library. So we got the object. Now, as we have a method for this add employee, so in place of doing this, what we can do, we can call something like, indirectly it's not good to call SQL handler over here, but for now easiness I'm just going to do that. We need to add one more layer to make it better, but for now I'm going to use directly the SQL handler in our form.cs. So here you have a lot of methods like the one that we had done over here. Let's say we had created the command, etc. And what we had done, we had done the SQL command dot execute non-query, right? So in place of doing this one, we have a different mechanism to do this. So let's make it a single liner, then we make a layer wise. So with that, we can use execute non-query, execute non-query, because we do not need any return things. So with that, what it's asking for, like it need a store procedure name. So I will provide a store procedure name. Then it needs something, what to say, like parameters. So what parameters it needed, like key value pair of list. So someone asking previously like how we create a list, I list, etc. Talk about them also. So we'll talk about them too. Now let's how to use this one. So to use, we need something, a list of key value pair, and key value pair is key as a string and value as an object. So we had given a name parameter collection. So we created an object. Within that, we are adding a key value of our needed values over here. So in place of writing everything, we will go over this and bring few line of code from here. So we need this to like a first name. So in place of category, we will add our first name, and we have a employee first name over here. So we added one parameter. Similar to this, what we can do? We can add another parameter. The parameter name is last name. And with that, we can make it last name. So we have parameter collection ready. We can pass this over here. And we need store procedure name too. So this is the store procedure for the add. We'll pass over here. And we say line close. And then we comment this line. Now we need to run this to check that whether we can add a new employee with this library or not. Oh, it's showing that we got error. So let's see what is the error. Oh, we have a sometimes this kind of problem can occur. Now, as we have our form, let's try to add. We'll say Deo Kumar, and we'll say add. So with that, we had Deo Kumar. So this time we had done the insertion with the SQL handler, and everything is same. We can split this line of code with one another library so that our code looks little bit clean. So what we do, we go in our data layer. Oh, we have a SQL handler and we have these files. For simplicity, for now, I'm going to add one more folder. So we'll say add folder, and we say SQL data provider, and within that I will add a new class, and the name is, we'll say for now EMP data provider. So we have a class and we'll make it public for now. And then what we can do, we bring our these lines in the data provider class. So cut it down, bring it over here. We'll say public and void add emp, and then we'll paste everything over here, and we have to reference the namespace. Everything is done now, and then we need to bring this code over in this emp data provider. And we need an object of this employee class. So we'll say what is the class name? This is the class. We'll say this, and we need to use the using. So by using user management, we got employee over here. Everything is done. So with that, what we do, in place of writing too many codes, we will copy this one and again go over here. In place of creating object of this one, we'll create this obj and data obj emp data equal to new data provider, and it's asking us to add this using, and with that we have only one method for this, and that add emp, and we'll pass the same object within this one. So this will be exactly equivalent that we had done just a few minutes ago. Just we had broken down our code over here. Termed as Dapper. So if you are interested to use the Dapper, you can also download it from GitHub and reference in your project. And you can use very similarly with that. Just you supply the connection string, create the object of Dapper, and start using this. They also have a parameter collection. They also have a similar method like execute non-query, etc. Try to use them. But if what extra today I want to explain you, like when to use execute non-query, when to use what. So we will use execute non-query when we have to execute the SQL command in the database and we do not want to return anything from the database. Please remember, hey guys, today I'm going to explain everything about this SQL command. So we use execute non-query when we not have to return anything, just we have to run our command in SQL and want a return like number of affected rows in the database. Only that time this execute non-query is helpful for us. With that, I will show you a little bit different method. So let's go with this one is execute as ADO script. Let's say you have a script file like too many SQL commands you want to run in your database, then you can execute our SQL execute ADO script. So as the name suggests, you can execute a script file. So you can provide a big SQL string that must be syntactically correct, and then you can use it. After this, and look, there are too many overloads. So as per need, you can use them. Then we have execute as data set. So if just you have a SQL command, dry SQL command, like select all from this table, you can call this method and execute it without any problem. You can get the data set. With that, let's move on this. So model rollback you do not need. Just forget it. Execute as table. So if you want a data table, then you can use this execute as table. If you want to execute query on a database, but want to return a Boolean value, then use execute non-query and you will get a Boolean value. How you get the Boolean value? You can return a Boolean value with the output parameter in stored procedure. So previously we had done the just only input parameters. SQL Server also support the out parameters. So if you have anything as an output parameter, like you had done the checking for something I want to return with output parameter, you can use this method execute non-query, but get a value from your stored procedure output parameters. So we will also see the example for this while doing the works. But for now, I just explained to make you a little bit comfortable. And in this library, you will find a lot of overloads. Like sometimes we need different things. So again, you have a execute non-query, which will take, we just use this one previously. And then I already told you about execute non-query. Let's move on others. Execute as given type. Like you have to run your SQL command in database, but you want a return as an object. Let's say you want to select some data in an employee object. So you can use this at the time so that you get the strongly qualified written from the SQL Server. So this is also similar. You will provide store procedure name. You will provide the key value pair collection, and you will provide the object that you want written with this command. So it will make your code little bit cleaner and faster. With that, let me explain you another method. We have a output parameter given type. So this one is basically used if you have a, let's say I told you about the example for Boolean, but if you need a integer, you want a string, you want little bit different. So you can use this one. That will help you provide a different type of output parameter from the database. Then let's talk about another function. Uh, we have too many overload for execute non-query, guys. So let's move on. Execute as data set. So if you have a store procedure and you want to return a data set, then you can use this one, as we had done in our this class. In our class, how we had done the for the data set, this method. We have a equivalent code over here. So we had done this data set written with our pure command, very similar to that. We also have a execute as data set. Just provide a store procedure name and key value pair collection. You'll get that data set. And then move on the different. We have a too many overload for SQL data readers. Execute as object. This one is a good one. Always we provide the store procedure name and parameter collection and get the strongly qualified. We will heavily use this one when we do the operation for the web. And then we have all our overload after that, I think. So if you want a data table, so this one will do the job. You provide the SQL listing, you will get the data table. Execute as list. If you want a collection of certain type of object in a list, you can use this one. Execute as scalar. This one is very useful when we need only single column and single row written from the database. At that time, we only use the execute as scalar. So always remember single row and single column value for the execute as scalar. So this one will also have a two overloads, and then I think we are done. So this is all about SQL handler.